This is kind of I think this is the kind of conversation that a lot of people have over a great beer, not just in Saskatchewan, but everywhere. Who would I like to have a beer with? It's got to be Johnny Cash, and for a whole bunch of reasons. But you think about Johnny Cash, he is a unique bridge between rock and roll and country and folk. I think he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He is in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and he's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Not very many people can make that claim. And I mean, a lot of people understand the country side of things, but if you read any biography on him, and the most recent one that I've read is an LA Times music critic. I think the only music journalist that was actually at Folsom Prison when they recorded that historic record, has written this book of late. I think it's only about 5 years old now, and I highly recommend it because in it describes pretty clearly how Johnny Cash, did walk in all those worlds, and the folk piece is something he connects because, of course, Bob Dylan was a huge Johnny Cash fan. Johnny Cash was a huge Bob Dylan fan. There was corroboration. There's amazing video you can YouTube of the two of them singing either a Dylan song or a Cash song. They wrote "Wanted Man" together, which was a big hit for Cash. Most folks don't know. So if I could have a beer with him, I think I'd ask him about those earliest years. So, because it would have combined stories of Sun Records. Cash was on Sun Records. Who else was on Sun Records? Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, Carl Perkins, who went on to be Johnny Cash's guitar player. And he could tell all of those stories about how rock and roll kind of started at Sun Records in Memphis. And then he could tell the stories about his involvement on the folk side of things. His first sort of flop in New York when he tried that market and how that later changed in his life. He could tell you all the history of modern music would be represented in one guy. Plus, he'd have great stories. I just love the history of music, especially those genres. And you think of blues, folk, country, rock, gospel, and I don't know anybody in the world or in history who is as uniquely qualified to talk about, to share stories about all of those genres that would just be mind-blowing than Johnny Cash. So I'd like to have a beer with Johnny Cash. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.